Today's feminists seem to love fighting for things they just don't truly understand, and it gives the whole equal rights movement a bad rap. A lot of these feminists have been caught getting absolutely owned on camera, but what happens when it's another female owning them rather than a man?
Do you love women?
Of course.
Great.
Let's find out. A segment on CNN had this feminist gasping for air in rage as she was unable to properly answer this reporter's question.
49 LGBT people were massacred to an anti-gay organization event. So do not try to equate the mistake that was made by her campaign staff, and I agree with Tara.
May I ask you a question?
And wait a minute. No, you can't ask me a question.
Because you can't answer the question.
Oh, you can't ask me a question, honey. I can't answer, so don't even try.
What attracted the father of the Orlando terrorist to your candidate?
He's a mentally ill individual who ran for president.
I get it.
Pardon me?
What attracted him to your candidate? And your answer was he's mentally ill.
His answer stop smiling and smirking like it's a funny thing.
Peter Lloyd, another presenter from CNN, ended this interview with a serious bang.
Language does have power, so let's use that power to create a more positive and constructive culture.
Peter,
and it's not about some sort of moratorium on individual words, tearing them out of the dictionary. It's about being part of a conversation about the best respectful language, especially in the workplace, where people really have a right to be treated respectfully.
We are unfortunately running out of time, but Peter, I just want to get one final thought from you. Are there words that are used to describe men that offend you?
Not particularly, and if there are some I don't like, I certainly wouldn't want them banned, but it always goes back to that old adage, sticks and stones may break my bones, but there will always be something to offend a feminist.
Peter Lloyd.
That's just obnoxious.
Peter
Sorry,
Lloyd,
you have to give me a chance to respond to that. That is ridiculous.
This feminist on Australian TV got offended and felt the need to speak over another presenter.
The people in real America, in small town America, weren't buying the bull dust that was coming out of the elites about
the idea of there being a real America.
I'm sorry, I was speaking.
All America
before
is
you
real.
interrupted.
Is it okay and the question, I believe, was to me. All of America is real. If you live in the city or you live in a small town, you're still an American.
This is the reason why Donald Trump won, because people like you lecture and hector people.
Pricey.
Kellyanne Conway, the former counselor to the President of the United States, is setting the facts straight here as she explains her distaste towards modern-day feminism.
Well, I believe this generation, particularly the younger people, don't really like labels, and we're not necessarily joiners or liking to label ourselves, and that's great in its own right. So I don't know about calling yourself a feminist. For me, it's difficult for me to call myself a feminist in the classic sense because it seems to be very anti-male, and it certainly is very pro-abortion in this context, and I'm neither anti-male or pro-abortion. So there's an individual feminism, if you will, that you make your own choices. Mercedes, I look at myself as a product of my choices, not a victim of my circumstances. This presumptive negativity about women and power, I think, is very unfortunate because let's just try to access that and have a conversation about it rather than a confrontation about it.
Ronda Rousey, the professional UFC fighter, points out the obvious in this interview about differentiating pay amongst genders in sport.
You've expressed interest in liking superheroes, and a lot of Hollywood is coming out that the representation is very over-sexualized. What do you think about the portrayal in media?
The male superheroes are overly masculinized, and the women are overly feminized, and I think that's just part of the whole superhero universe, really.
You being at the height of your sport, maybe make $1 million at most per fight. Does that anger you, and what can we do to change that?
If I got to a point where I had almost 50 fights, I would probably be making close to the same amount of money that Floyd does. But at this point, I have 11, so.
This disgruntled Burger King employee was caught on camera kicking down anti-abortion signs with quite the language to match it.
Not look like that. It's a club cells. No hands are shown for that time. You're just a white privileged racist male that doesn't stand for women's rights. And get that camera out of my face, either. Wait.
I call the police. Will, Riley. Hold on a second.
Wait.
We are calling the police, ma'am.
You are white male privileged assholes.
I'm calling the police right now.
What you are is a racist as well. How dare you do this kind of
You're being videotaped. We will return this to the police.
Go ahead. Go right the ahead, you sexist, misogynist. That is all you are. You don't give a about women. You don't give a about life. All you are just a bunch of.
Are you calling the police? Are you calling the police?
Back off. Back off. Right now. You don't know what's out here.
All you are just a bunch of misogynist. Take your male privilege somewhere else. No uterus, no right to talk about it. Understand me?
I'm listening to you.
No, I don't get the face now. Your signs deserve to get.
Here we have Ben Shapiro just casually dismantling the third wave feminism movement.
Do you think that leads to a loosening of the fabric of society,
Of course
where
I do.
shame is a necessary determinant in society?
Yeah, I mean,
and that it leads to like sexual assault and an increase in things?
Okay, so I think that, first of all, if somebody commits a sexual assault, the only person to blame is the person who commits the sexual assault, right? That right off the bat. Right? Victims are not to blame for their own sexual assault. I also think that if you put yourself in a risky situation, then you've put yourself in a risky situation, right? We do this every day, right? Every day we make decisions about what sort of situations to put ourselves in. If I walk through a high crime neighborhood waving $100 bills above my head and then I am robbed, then it is the fault of the person who robs me. It is not my fault. But I also made a bad decision to do that.
Here are some individuals who bear a high level of intellect attempt to explain why Trump is a racist in a clear and well thought out manner.
How is Donald Trump racist? How is Donald Trump racist?
He wants to build it. It's rewarded. He said that. It's
for our border. For our border.
Oh my God! You are such a piece of.
You have to listen to context politics, like to imagine that you're to vote for the leader of the great world to be someone who's homophobic, sexist, simply stupid, volatile, on edge, like just unintelligent.
Okay, pause. I just don't know what you're talking about.
Go to or military. They go for wars. You probably support.
No, wait, do you realize that the same people that fund ISIS fund Hillary Clinton?
You're a dumb piece of.
Oh no, you can look this up. This is public information, man. This is public information. I'm brainwashed. Let me hear your facts and evidence. How is racist? How is Donald Trump racist?
He wants to build a wall. He said that. It's
for our border. For our border.
Oh my God!
Here we have Milo Yiannopoulos explain why body positivity has gotten out of hand.
Health is about lifestyle, not looks. People who hate their bodies don't look after them.
People who hate their bodies look for affirmation, self-help, sort of motivational speaking of the kind that you do, because they want to feel good about how they look, no matter what their size or shape. People who feel good about their bodies go to the gym.
Come back on that.
Well, I go to the gym, and I'm not single. I'm in a long-term relationship. I think that you've stereotyped women who want to see diversity because it makes you feel better.
But it's always
to think that
one
we're all
direction,
bitter and that we're all bitter and militant. I want to see diversity. I want to celebrate women. I love women. I love fashion, and I want to see everybody invited to the fashion party. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that.
Do you love women?
Of course.
Great.